Wake up, wake up. It is a Friday. Larry Krueger here at Levi's, Damon Bruce. Big Friday, Seahawk week. Something's got to give. We'll talk to Shanahan later today. We'll be in the locker room. Busy day, but it all gets rolling right here. Let's go.
Wake up indeed. Damon Bruce, Levi's Larry, joining us from down in Santa Clara today, and it's great to have you here on Wake Up, brought to you by Sam's Chowder House. I'm telling you, it's supposed to be a nice weekend here in the Bay Area. Maybe a little rain blowing in on Sunday. We'll worry about the weather a little bit later on, but get yourself to Half Moon Bay, because look what's waiting for you. That beautiful restaurant, fantastic food, a day trip that your entire family is going to enjoy, and you top it all off with that bad boy right there, the lobster roll. Look at her. She's great. Thank you so much to our good friends at Sam's for being the sponsor of Wake Up, and it's great to see all of you again. Thank you for coming on back here. Like and subscribe across both channels. We are simulcasting this bad boy on the Krug Show and Damon Bruce Plus. And Larry, it's been quite an emotional week. I mean, we got a lot of 49ers and Seahawks to talk here. Brock Purdy trying to remain undefeated against the Seattle Seahawks. That can't be an easy thing to do. But what an emotional week we've officially had in the Bay Area, starting with a win in Tampa, which left no calm, laying over 49ers fans, followed by Klay Thompson's return, Steph Curry's very emotional response to all of that, crescendoing with the end of broadcasting eras. Yesterday was Tom Tolbert's final show on KNBR after 28 years. This morning, Lamont and Tonelli said goodbye after 30 years on the air together, some way, somehow, here in the Bay Area. And, for guys who, like me, used to work in radio, for a guy like you who still does have a foot in radio, it's been, I don't know about you, man, but I always get a little emotional with that last Steve Kerr interview, that last Steve Young interview, that last time I sat in my driveway listening to Tolbert do a segment. It happened yesterday. And it did. It hurt a little. It really did. I love radio, and I'm watching it die right in front of me. It really hurts.
Yeah, I've got so many thoughts about it, right?
Right.
I was watching last night. There's sometimes movies that aren't good necessarily, but when they're on, you're just oddly compelled to watch them.
Yes.
One of them for me is Moneyball. When Moneyball's on, I watch that movie. And that scene where Billy and Grady Fuson, he fires Grady Fuson, the head scout, and he's like, adapt or die. And that's kind of the media world, adapt or die. And it's not over. You just have to go. The audience is, people don't, none of these guys have lost it. Tolbert is great. To this minute, he's great. John Lund is fantastic. To this minute, he is fantastic. And the other people that have lost their jobs as well. Tony Ryan, very creative guy. Yeah. He's going to go on to great success. Tony and I went to high school at St. Ignatius together.
I didn't know he was an SI guy.
Yeah, he's an SI guy. When I was a senior, he was a freshman. So he's going to do just fine for himself. A lot of great things are coming for Tony. But, Lamont and Tonelli have had an amazing run, and I just want to just tip my cap to those guys today.
Great guys.
Today was their final show.
What great!
They're both great friends. Paul went to SI with me, not with me, but he went to SI. He went to SI when I was a little kid. Basically, he's older, but their show, come on, Lamont and Tonelli. That thing's rocked forever. And I love those guys, like brothers.
Tata Tuesdays, Larry. I'm going to miss Tata Tuesdays.
Nikki Black, Chaska, Baby Huey, all of them, the entire show. I love those guys. And Tommy, love Tom. John, absolutely love John.
Remember Sully?
Sully, yeah, I know Sully really well. It's an end of an era, but I would say, none of these guys have lost it. The audience has migrated to other areas. You can go migrate and put yourself in front of them, or you can just be like, call it a day. And if you I wouldn't question you, if you did either. If you want to call it a day and just say, hey, I've had enough. I don't want to go down that road. It seems complicated. I don't want to work that hard. I don't want to hustle that much. I don't want to adapt. I want it. That's fine too, and congrats on an amazing run. But if you do want to continue on, I think, I and you and, I'm sure there's others around the country are kind of proof that you can have a broadcast career after radio if you just you switch to the digital space. I was just listening to John Lynch, whose dad was a general manager of a sports radio station in San Diego, and he said that his dad said years ago, that digital was the way to go. And so, the bottom line is we can talk about the radio. My grandmother had a radio on her kitchen table. The transistor radio was one of the central figures in my grandmother's house.
Yeah.
My dad always had a radio with batteries that was always ready. We listened to the radio constantly on the way to school, on the way home from school. Everywhere we went in the car, we listened to KMBR, we listened to music, and we love the radio. But now the star of the media show is this little bad boy.
No doubt.
It's the phone, and everybody gets everything through the phone. So a lot of times when I'm out and about and I'm listening to KMBR, I go iHeartRadio, and that's how I connect, right? I mean, it's the different world. So, and I have kids, right? I've got older kids, 23, 22, 18, 14. They're not into radio, and their generation's migration away from radio and to getting everything off of Apple Music and Spotify and podcasts,
Oh yeah. We know the direction the entire world, listener habits, the direction of the business is going in. We know all of that, but
come on and join us. It's game on over here.
It is. It definitely is. But for a minute, boy, do I want to, just miss radio for one more minute. I
know. We both have devoted our lives to it.
Yeah, we dedicated our lives to it. And, there's something to me just about the soundtrack of San Francisco. The chances of me being at a stoplight with my windows down next to another car and being able to hear, oh, you're also listening to the same radio station I'm listening to, or there's Tolbert coming out of your car. He's at my car. We're both listening to a Giants game. Like stupid stuff like that to me is part of the romance that is gone. And it hurts a little bit, but you are very right. There is an incredible marketplace on YouTube. There is a world of opportunity, which for laid off radio hosts, which did not exist without the station, without the means to communicate. You had nothing as a laid off host. Now you just have a phone, which is more powerful than any radio station could ever be, because your phone can broadcast to the globe. Your station is still bound by its signal strength. And it's incredible. It's incredible, the opportunity that is out there. I have embraced it, obviously, as well. But boy, that one hurt. And Tommy did a hell of a final show. It was just another example of Tolbert being Tolbert and never changing to the very end. He handled it all great. I'm glad that John Lund got a final show too. I didn't get a final show. I think that made me a little pissed off yesterday too. I was like, how come everyone's getting a final show? I didn't get a final fucking show.
Well, I'll tell you why.
Probably
because enough people didn't get a final show, including people we know, and so the audience pushed back, and KMBR smartly listened to the audience. The audience, and they try. And it comes down to trust too. They trusted John, they trusted Tom to not go off crazy and attack the station. I mean, that's really why people get ushered out.
I don't think they trusted me, Larry. I don't
think they should have trusted you, to be completely honest. I think you're just impulsive enough to probably bury somebody in the last segment.
This is what makes me a great broadcaster. What's he going to say next?
By the way, you were talking about radio, though. We were talking about the different evolution of radio. I don't know if I ever told you this. It was about whatever number of years ago, and a guy pulls up at the gas station in Walnut Creek listening to you and Ray, and he's on a motorcycle. And he's got the thing going super loud. His motorcycle's like blah 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 blah. But over it, you can hear, well, I'm not sure, from Ray, and you guys are going back and forth, and I'm just laughing because I'm pumping gas and I'm like listening to you guys just coming screaming through this this motorcycle radio that's on super loud because the guy wants to be able to hear it over his exhaust. Just a classic moment. But yeah, I mean, it's the world's changing, man. The world's changing, and and it's okay, man. It's okay. Things change, things evolve, and you can evolve with it.
D. Bruce, that final show would have been epic as fuck. It really would have been. Oh, by the way, Kevin knows. This has got to be Kev, right? Kev, you didn't type that, Larry. That's got to be Kev. There's no chance Damon doesn't crash out in that final show. Thank you, Kev. I guess my reputation precedes me. Anyways, I texted Holler yesterday, and I said, "Any chance?" Of
course you did.
I said, "Any chance?"
What did you say?
I said, "Any chance I could call in and wish Tom farewell?" And he wrote back. He was like, "That's funny."
That's awesome.
In other words, there's no chance we're letting you on. Words, no fucking way. Anyway,
lose my number. Did he follow with a lose my number?
No. It wasn't nasty. It was funny. Anyways, salute to people who I liked and admired very, very much in their careers. And now, Larry, everyone came here to talk some 49ers football. So let's do that. That's what Sam's Chowderhouse is paying us to do.
Yeah,
and let's just hop right in. Let's just hop right in that Brock Purdy's looking to remain undefeated against Seattle here. And, that to me, the pessimist makes me think, well, that means the other team is officially due. Like the pendulum's going to swing. It always does in the NFL. And, man, that just makes this a crucial game for the season. It really does. We just went through an election cycle. I don't think the 49ers got what it takes to win the popular vote. They're going to have to get into the playoffs through the Electoral College, which means they're going to need to win the NFC West, and they need this game to do that. And I just think that this is, we've almost sort of downplayed how big of a fork in the road game this game really is on Sunday. It's massive, Larry.
Well, it's do or die for the Seahawks. I mean, this is the Niners' chance to put the dagger and Karate Kid, sweep the leg. That's what the sensei told Lawrence, sweep the leg. He wiped some blood from his nose. Lawrence, sweep the leg. By the way, I love that show on Netflix. Bag. Get him a body bag. Karate Kid. That was a good movie. Good flick. Yeah. What was his name? LaRusso. You're going down, Daniel. It's not bad. Have you seen the Cobra Kai on Netflix?
I haven't, and I've heard it's great. I've heard it's a lot of fun.
It's campy, but it's great. It's great. Purdy, 12 touchdowns, 2 picks, 1,381 passing yards, 118 passer rating, 5-0 against Seattle. 5-0. So it's going to be interesting. Seattle's desperate. They're coming off the bye. They've lost 5 of 6, including 2 in a row. They started 3-0, and we were like, "Oh my goodness, look at Seattle." They added the Ravens defensive coordinator, and they got this killer run game with Walker, but they didn't have a killer run game. In fact, nobody runs less than the Seahawks. But in the last game, Damon, before the bye, they did commit to the run. They ran Walker 25 times, but they didn't get it done. I mean, it was like 25 carries for like 80 yards. So I'm eager to see, does Geno come out throwing, or do they try to run Walker, or do they try to, my guess is they're going to try to throw it to Walker. I was just looking at some of the numbers in the matchup, and the one number that really jumps out to me is that the 49ers game allow the 6th most receiving yards to running backs. And in week 6 in that matchup up there at Lumen, on a Thursday night, Walker had a 17% target share. And he had 8 catches. So I expect them to throw the ball to Walker, probably a number of screens, and how well the Niners tackle him in the open field. Devondre Campbell, I'm talking to you, is going to determine if the Niners win this game big.
Larry, it's stupid how much you and I think of football in the same way, because here is the one guy that they got to shut down. Here is my much too simple plan to win on Sunday. Shut down Kenneth Walker III. I got a whole segment here, but it sounds like you've already prepped the same segment. He leads this team with nearly 400 rushing yards. They throw him the ball an awful lot. He's their 4th leading receiver. He's got 30 catches on the year. Screens and patterns that are leaking out of the backfield are what the Seahawks are going to be looking to execute all day long. If the 49ers shut that down, if he does not have an explosive catching the ball out of the backfield day, I think the 49ers win this game. If they take that away, I'm not sure Seattle has enough to go around and win this game. And I like Luckett. I like, Jackson Smith and Jigba. He's really good. DK Metcalf can get surly. We all know that, although he doesn't say the surliest performances for the 49ers, and they did a hell of a job shutting him down. Looks like he is going to be playing. He's been participating, full participant in practice this week, so he's coming back. And, maybe, just maybe, Seattle's a little bit better getting one of its starting tackles back for the first time this season. But if you take away, as you were saying, Krug, if you take away Kenneth Walker beating you, catching the ball out of the backfield, I think you've just pretty much cut the legs right out from underneath Seattle's offense.
Yeah. DK's got an MCL sprain, so he's not 100%. But Lynch just spoke this morning, and one of the things that came out is that, Mooney's going to, the Niners are Lynch is like, hey man, we're a family. This guy's going through something really terrible. He's going to return when he's ready to return. He didn't practice on Wednesday. He didn't practice yesterday. He hasn't been here. I think it's probably pretty likely that Mooney's not going to go.
If he wants to go and sit in a dark room and cry for the remainder of the football season, he should be paid in full and given all the space he needs. My God, what he and his wife have been through. So all the space in the world for Mooney Ward. The day he picks to come back will be the perfect time for him to come back, not a minute before.
Yeah. Fuji Simeon says in a super, he says, not rushing Ward back at all. Is he playing Sunday? I would say no. I would say he's not playing Sunday. As I said, he didn't practice Wednesday, didn't practice Thursday. Lynch said, they've told him, hey, when you're ready, you're ready. And they're not going to push him. And nor, as Damon said, nor should they. And, that's the right way to handle it. But they would love to have him back, I'm sure, for this matchup because he's got great success in his career against DK Metcalf.
Well, the $92 million man, step on up, young man, Diamador Lenore. Here is a huge opportunity to show everybody that you earn that paycheck. By the way, I looked at some of the details of that salary and that contract. Freaking Parag is good at his job. We don't say that enough.
Well, he was Lenore was motivated. He wants to be here. He said, hey man, I'm an LA kid. I went to Oregon. Yeah. I'm a West Coast guy. I'm on the West Coast playing on grass. Great organization. I love it here. They love me. You know what I mean?
It's a deal that if that deal comes to fruition, it's a great deal for Diamador Lenore. It is a fantastic contract for the 49ers, giving them all sorts of manipulation and wiggle room around numbers that could come back and haunt them at some point should something go wrong or something. I mean, it's a smart contract for both sides. So, we have put an awful lot of, nasty connotations on Parag Marate's name through some contracts and holdouts. And when he does do a good job, we don't say that often enough. He did a good job.
Parag's good at what he does.
He is,
he could probably park horizontally, in the lot, and people would be like, hey, that's Parag doing Parag things,
the horizontal parker.
Yeah, seriously. You're going good when you can park horizontally. I
don't even pay attention to the lines of the parking slips. I just park.
I don't even turn the car off. I just let it sit there. I'm just burning gas. I'm just waiting for that thing. I'm just letting it idle. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you go back through the history of Brock having success against the Seattle Seahawks. You can just go and look at what he did earlier this year back in week 6. He had a 3-touchdown day in week 6. Debo had a really good day in week 6. He had 3 catches for 103 yards and a touchdown. And Geno threw 2 picks. And this is one of those ultimate, Larry, sometimes numbers, I guess, do lie. Like for a team that leads the NFL in average passing yards per game, the Seattle Seahawks aren't exactly a scary offense. Isn't it weird? Like you're telling me out of all the quarterbacks that we talk about and all the wide receivers and all the attention that is paid to, offense everywhere. It's Seattle leading the NFL in passes in passing yards per game. How's that even possible? Because nobody there feels, the offensive line doesn't feel good enough to give the protection. The quarterback isn't trustworthy enough to put up those numbers consistently. And there's been a revolving door of injuries in terms of talent that you're throwing to all year long. But for a team that leads the NFL in passing yards per game, they're not an elite offense, nor are they an elite defense. And I actually think that this, starting to look at it, where they are in their year, where the 49ers are in their year, how it all has to play out, this should be one of the easier afternoons of football remaining to the 49ers. And I know that that's also pretty stupid to say because division opponents mean things can go wrong. But this should be a 10-point win for the San Francisco 49ers. This should be a double-digit win for them on Sunday if they have officially pointed this thing in the right direction now that McCaffrey is back. And this is a huge chance to just step on the Seahawks' necks.
I agree. This Seahawks team is good. I like McDonald, and I think John Schneider's a good personnel guy, and I think they'll get it right. Look how quickly they're built up their secondary with Witherspoon and these guys, Reek Woolen. They'll keep churning it out, and they obviously they don't have their quarterback of the future yet. Once they do, they're going to be really, really dangerous. Geno, I think, is kind of he's been good, but it's like he's not great. Offensively, their offensive line's been a mess. I mean, Abraham Lucas is coming back though in this game. Yep. So Abraham Lucas. Yeah, and he's a really good player. So they get their starting right tackle back. They haven't had him all year. They're 27th in rush offense, but they're first in passing offense, as you said. To me, the one thing that really jumps out, it's the contrast in the time of possession. The Niners are second in time of possession. They possess the ball for almost 33 minutes a game. Seahawks are 27th. And it really, goes into the fact they can't run the ball with any consistency and they don't commit to the run. So they've tried to commit to the run. The game situations, if you watch their games, it's not that they want to be a pass happy team. They fall behind. Their run game gets stuffed. Their O-line doesn't open holes. Their O-line's getting whipped pretty consistently. And then they're back to passing, and they're having more success passing. But on defense, Damon, they're 25th in total defense. They've got some odd shaped pieces here. They've got Draymond Jones, who's about 285 pounds, playing outside linebacker in a 3-4. And I just think that they've changed out their inside linebacker duo. They had Jerome Baker and Terrell Dodson. They just waived Terrell Dodson. Damon, he was their leading tackler. How many teams waive healthy their leading tackler in the middle of November? But they did it because McDonald, who had Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith last year in Baltimore, is looking at Jerome Baker and saying, you're not good enough. Terrell Dodson, you're not good enough. So they're going this week with Tyrese Knight, a rookie from UTEP, who's small and fast and tough as hell. And they've got Ernest Jones the fourth from the Rams through the Titans, is now back in Seattle. So they've changed out the middle of their defense. They're 26th against the run. They're 20th against the pass. We'll see. I think the 49ers dominate the time of possession, protect their defensive line, hold the ball for 38 minutes, and get out of there with a big win.
Yeah, I think that the 49ers, we all know what the headaches are. We know that this has been an imperfect year, a wildly imperfect year. They're a much better team than the Seattle Seahawks. I really believe that. They're a better football team. And again, this team put 255 rushing yards on Seattle the last time that they played, and Seattle's gotten rid of two linebackers since that game. And I don't know if they've necessarily improved very much. And I think that the 49ers are definitely about to improve on the ground because Christian McCaffrey is back in the conversation. I think with McCaffrey back in the conversation, the red zone conversation is going to become an easier conversation. And look, if I'm Kyle all week long, all I'm doing is just drilling red zone, red zone, red zone. I don't know what the 49ers did in practice, but if they didn't do it in the red zone, they were wasting their goddamn time because that's all they need to do. As an offense, you have one job, Improve in the red zone. And by the way, Seattle gives up an awful lot of red zone scoring opportunities, and Seattle gives up more than 50% of red zone chances turn into touchdowns against Seattle. 54% they give up touchdowns in the red zone. So it's a vulnerable team. You've got the X marks the spot player back in Christian McCaffrey. So I really do. Look, here's the thing. If you're going to be a good football team, San Francisco 49ers, you're going to have to show it to us one of these weeks. We just can't keep on assuming it. I feel like this is a get-right week. I really do. I think this should be an impressive performance.
Yeah, John Lynch said it this morning. He says, I think our best football's in front of us. The Niners are going to peak at some point this second half. I'm going to share the screen because I asked Forster about their defensive front. Because the Niners, Damon, went up, they went to Lumen Field on that Thursday night earlier this year, and they ran the ball for
255.
Yeah. Was it 255? I thought it was 228, but it was a ton. Either way, that's a ton of yards. Anything over two bills is a lot. Here's Forster yesterday, and I asked him about their front. Kind of an interesting answer.
You guys ran 200 and something yards in the first matchup against these guys. Chris, talking to us about the front, because I know that Draymond Jones is playing outside linebacker. He's 285 pounds. I mean, have you ever seen a 285-pound outside linebacker?
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, they're big. They're a big physical group. They do a good job. And, we hit a few. We creased a couple early, and then we had the big run at the end. Obviously, you get 70-something yards on the last run of the game almost, or one of the last runs of the game. It does help your statistics. But, they're a good front. They have a very good philosophy, a very sound defensive philosophy, and sound defensive they coach good techniques. They're an improved team over the last time we played them. And they'll be a huge challenge for us. Obviously, people that can try to set edges on our offense, that's always a big challenge for us. And then how the rest of the front plays according to the edges being set challenges us greatly as well. 99 did a great job against us last game. They all did. They had a heck of a game. We just, we had a chance. They get the kick return. They get back in the game. It's nip and tuck till the end, and we break the long run at the end, and then Juice sneaks one in there at the end, and we end up making it a little bit better, a wider margin of victory than maybe it had been most of the game. So, but they're a challenging defense.
Yeah, 99 is Leonard Williams, by the way.
Yeah. 36-24 was the win. Niners put up 13 points in the fourth quarter with Guerrero, the 76-yard run to give him a 99-yard day on 10 carries. And to correct my mistake, Larry, you were right. I was wrong. Brock threw for 255 against Seattle. The 49ers ran for 228.
There you
go. I did get that wrong. Pardon me. But this is
what in the heck is going on? Let's hit a couple star chats for a second.
I don't mean to let you down. I don't mean to let Sam Chatterhouse down. I don't mean to let the audience down.
There no lobster roll for you. I mean, that's sad.
This is why Kevin Krueger is not going to give me a last show when he fires me.
Yeah, Fuji. Yeah, exactly. And he will be firing us at some point. Fuji Simeon says sad news about Tolbert and Lund and the others. Yep, absolutely. Thank you, Fuji Simeon. He says too many SI guys, Larry. LOL, joking, respect to SI. I think Fuji Simeon's a Reardon guy. Go Cats, get them Cats. Go get them Cats.
Hey, if Fuji Simeon's a Reardon guy, he should be on Team Bruce over here because I'm geographically very close to Reardon.
That's right. Damon's backs up to Reardon. He literally could make a tackle in the middle of a Reardon game, though they would probably put that on YouTube, and it would probably be a really good video. It would probably be one of your highest drawing videos. David Bruce, former talk show host from KMBR 95.7 The Game, stormed over his fence and onto the football field on Friday night and now I'll be like the news person from KTVU and made the tackle of his life. And then all of a sudden they cut to the pre-cut package. And Damon Bruce was it? What happened behind me tonight is something we'll never forget.
A 49-year-old man was led away in handcuffs today at Reardon High School, not allowed to participate. After spending 18 years talking sports, Damon Bruce tried to play.
I always love the TV things. It will kill you in seconds, and you eat it for dinner tonight at 11. What?
Yeah, right.
I gotta wait till 11 o'clock. It's gonna kill me in seconds, and I eat it for dinner.
Let me know. Let me know right now.
That is.
I think that
wait till 11 o'clock.
Isn't that there's a really funny Ellen DeGeneres skit about that, and she's sitting there. She's like, "Is it peas? Because I hope it's not peas. I'm about to eat peas.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
she is awesome. The comedy special that she has where she's like, she's trying to be a good friend to her friend, and she's asking about her haircut. And she's like,
bangs.
Tell me about the bangs. Tell me about the bangs.
I think one of her best skits is that the toilet paper claw is the same as the pickle claw. It's just inverted. The pickle claw and the toilet paper claw are the same. Thank you very much, Ellen DeGeneres.
Is Greg Papa safe? Who will be his co-host now? It wasn't my turn to watch him. No, Greg's gonna be just fine. He's the voice of the Niners.
Smiley Dan got him high in the alley. Yeah, probably. He's probably safe. No. Look, so, anyone who makes a big salary is officially on the chopping block. So what do you do to also justify that? Greg, I think, gets and enjoys protection from the San Francisco 49ers as the voice of the Niners. And I think Brian Murphy is still around because he enjoys protection from the San Francisco Giants. And, you got to keep a couple of your old dogs around to bark. And it looks like the two of them, won the race. So I hope
it's inappropriate for me. Yeah, I'm working there, so it's really inappropriate for me to comment on any of that stuff. So I just won't, but I know what you're saying.
Here's something you can't say, Larry. I'm going to say it right now. I don't want to put you in an awkward position. KNBR would be nuts to not give you afternoon drive. It would just be insane. Like, if I hope that they do it. I don't know if you're talking about it or with them, and you certainly shouldn't and can't share it here. But that's what I would do if I had common sense and money. And I don't know if they have both of those anymore, so maybe it won't be. But great job on Niners Nightly last night. I did stick around to listen to the end of Tolbert and heard you're open, and you handled that with class and aplomb. And I could hear the emotion in your voice. There was a lot of emotion in my voice. It's a big day, big week.
Radio's a small industry, and these are our friends. People don't realize it. Like, when you go to a radio station, there's not thousands of people. There certainly isn't anymore, but they're the radio on air people at most stations are kind of separated from the business people and the promotions people and all the other people. So it's like we're in our own neck of the woods in our own area of the building, and all you have is your producer and your cohorts, your co-host, or all these guys. I've known Tom, since I graduated high school the year he graduated college, 1988. So we're 4 years. He's 4 years older than me, but he came to KNBR in 1996, and I came to KNBR in 1997. And so literally, we've raised our families side by side, and we faced off for years. I did the nighttime show, and I faced off with him and Ralph every night. And
Me too.
Yeah, so it's like, it hits home. I never thought this day would come for Tom, and I wish him well. And he can do whatever he wants. He's going to be first of all, I think he's really, really good with Tim on the broadcast. I think he's spectacular. I think Tim and Tom are fantastic on basketball together. And then, Tom's a natural at this and could do this in a number of different forms, whether it be on YouTube or anywhere.
Can do whatever he wants to do going forward. Be just fine. He's got star power. He's got appeal. He's got a lot of things going for him. What I would like to see is him join Tim Roy, not just for home games, but full time now. I don't know if Tom wants to travel and hit the road, but if I'm Hagian and 95.7 The Game looking to capitalize on, Tolbert, has a lot more free time now. I'm trying to get him on with Tim for the remainder of the schedule, not just home games at Chase Center.
There's a lot of options. And I wish those guys nothing but great success and great health. And if I can help them in any way, I will. So if people have asked me, hey, you can have Tom on. I don't know that Tom's first move is that he's going to I need to be on with Krueger on the Krueger show. But, I'm sure he's probably got bigger fish to fry. But let's just say this. He's got the standing welcome to appear anytime and every time he'd like to in this format with me anytime he wants. And I'd love to have him on. Love to have John on. I'd love to have Tony on. I'd love to have you on, America.
I've been the exit interview for Bay Area media layoffs. I had FP. I was the first to have Paulie on. Creative Tony was sitting on that couch right there while Paulie was sitting right here with me.
Are you like a halfway house? You're kind of like
Brazil. Yeah, seriously. You come to me, I give you your methadone, and getting over your layoff is just a little bit easier.
Fuji Simeon says U2 radio was great, but think of all the super chats now. LOL. Who on the Niners need to have a big game against the Seahawks? Cowing on the jet sweep. I would say the guy that needs to have a big game is a guy that I'm a little worried about, and that's Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings, anytime in the 2 games this year, I believe, where there wasn't either Ayuk or Debo, Jennings has had a 36% target share. But one of the late breaking stories yesterday was that he was hobbling at the end of practice, and I think it was an ankle for Jennings. Let me see if I have it in my notes. But yeah, I think Jennings was hobbled with a ankle sprain. He was limited today at the very end of practice. So after the media departed, he had some kind of an ankle injury. So that will be one of the questions, I'm sure, today for Kyle Shanahan when he speaks to us later is, what's JJ's status? But if he's healthy, that's the guy who I think has a big day.
Not only do I not like that for the Niners, but I hate it for him. I hope he can go because, boy, Juwan Jennings is just – there's so much opportunity in front of him right here with the injuries that are in front of him. You know, for him to just be said, Shanahan's like, yeah, he's our X the rest of the year. He is, he is the first up wide receiver. There he is right there. That's our guy. For him to get that endorsement and then, suffer a minor ankle injury, that stinks. Hopefully he can stay healthy and go. The Niners need him, and he needs this opportunity. He really does. But Ricky Pearsall, big week for him. Ricky has played 3 games. He's gotten noticeably better and more effective in each of them. I can't wait to see game number 4 out of Ricky Pearsall. I can't wait to see game number 2 out of Christian McCaffrey, specifically what he can do to help the Niners open things up and solve their red zone problems. As we told you earlier this week, Christian McCaffrey is a Seahawks killer, absolute Seahawks killer. McCaffrey, where I got this right here. Hold on, where McCaffrey averages 163 scrimmage yards per game against Seattle. He's had at least 125 in all 6 career games he's played against them. If he does it again on Sunday, he's going to tie Jim Brown as the only players with 7 straight games of 125 more yards against one opponent in NFL history. So, again, with 125 yards from scrimmage, Christian McCaffrey will have done something against one team that has only happened one other time in NFL history, and it took one of the greatest running backs of all time to do that. So he's a monster when he's healthy and ready to go, and he's healthy and ready to go again. And hopefully he stays that way because this team goes as far as McCaffrey takes them. I really think that's it. And I know that you said, Damon, don't think that way. It's a bad way to think. You got to just plan on him not being here. Well, now he's here. And so I'm going to get comfortable with the fact that he's going to remain here. Hopefully he does, because I think he'll show you the way. He's the navigator. This team goes to the Super Bowl because of him, or unfortunately, because he isn't who he used to be, they don't.
Here's my thought on that too, Damon. Without Ayuk, I want to see more of this guy, George Kittle.
UCLA Bruin George Kittle?
Yeah, this is George Kittle yesterday in his locker.
George always pays his bets. He always pays his bets. I've seen that guy wear more other teams' football helmets than his own.
When Iowa's good, too. I like Iowa. But Iowa lost to UCLA. They got a lead on UCLA. Bruins came back and beat them down in Southern California. Probably not used to the warm weather at this time of the year. But so George had to wear the UCLA helmet. And it looks like it's sized too small when you watch him turn. But I asked him, because to me, Damon, this is a guy right here that he had 4 targets last week. I mean, come on. He caught 3 balls. You need this guy. You have to go to this guy in the red zone. I think get yourself another blocking tight end and put that guy on the line of scrimmage and let this guy, run patterns. But here I asked him without Ayuk, about his touches. Here's what he said.
Do you
His
need to
helmet's
be a
blocking my
do you need to be a bigger part of the pass game the rest of the way because there is no Ayuk?
Do I need to be?
Yeah.
Whatever my team needs me to be, man. If I need 10 targets a game, if I need 2 targets a game, whatever it is, as long as I play the best of my ability, I know I'm helping this team win.
So that's the right answer for sure.
But
what do you think, Damon?
Answer.
What's that?
It's a very diplomatic answer. But yeah, like I can almost see it in his eyes, him saying, yes, they should throw me the ball a little bit more. I'm, the third most prolific pass catcher in the history of this franchise and like 3-4 more catches. It's going to be Jerry Rice, Terrell Owens, George Kittle. That's the top 3 pass catchers in the history of the franchise by the time this Sunday is over. If he catches 3 or 4 balls.
He's the best red zone receiver they got.
Give him an opportunity to catch 10 balls. If he's good at catching the ball, throw him more of the ball. It doesn't seem that difficult to me.
Yeah. Fuji Simeon Berlin. Berlin expressed desire to host NFL. Chance the Niners play multiple overseas games in a season like the Jaguars. Niners organization do own the Leeds soccer team. Well, I'll say this. The 49ers are very much on the cutting edge of the international expansion. When I say expansion, I mean, I don't know if you guys know this, but over the last 2 years, the NFL has allowed teams to individually market their brand globally. And they gave each team like a region. And so the Niners have both London and they also have Mexico City because they're one of the few teams. I think there's a couple teams that have 2 regions because they're so coveted. So the Niners actually have 2 areas that they market to aggressively, and that's Mexico City and London. And that's why you see lots and lots of UK. What's that?
Those are the 2 you would want, by the way. Those, if you're drafting.
Well, you know what? The one that you want is probably Berlin and Munich, because from what I'm reading, that when the NFL goes to London, what they really see are thousands and thousands of people from Germany, where the NFL is enormously popular, coming from Germany to UK to go to London to watch the game. So they got a huge popularity in Germany. So, it'll be interesting to see like the Niners. So all these teams have marketing, like the Vikings, I think have Berlin, and the Niners have Mexico City. So like when the Niners played the Cardinals in Mexico City, it was like 90% Niner fans. It was technically a Cardinal home game, but it was a total pro Niner crowd.
Look,
so
the Niners
I think they'd like to do it, but I don't know much about this Berlin Express. Is this a
Berlin Express is not like Starlight Express, or it's not like a train or anything. It's the Berlin Express desire. Berlin has expressed a desire to host NFL.
Oh, I get you. Yeah, I get you.
Berlin Express sounds like a team, though, doesn't it? Like, oh man, we're up against the Berlin Express this weekend.
Well, that might have been the name of the team when they were there.
I don't know. I can't remember a lot of the international team. No, we need to bring in Jim Tom Sula. He could probably name all of them for you. There was the Rhine Fire. I remember that because I think that's the team that Tom Sula coached. The Rhine Fire.
You know what? I interviewed so many players who played in NFL Europe, and like to a man, they said, "Oh, I didn't love it. I didn't love the idea of it. I didn't want to go there. It wasn't always smooth sailing when I was there, but looking back on it, it's like one of the greatest experiences of my life."
Totally.
So you know what? I mean, traveling and seeing the world has its advantages. Whether it's good for your football or not is one thing. Kyle Bentz, you got the wrong show. There you go. Ray Rogers says, so a little off topic. I'm curious if you had to sign one of the upcoming free agents, who would it be between Huff, Banks, Greenlaw, or Mooney? There's no doubt in my mind it's Greenlaw if he's healthy. Right. If he's not healthy, then I'd say Banks.
If Dre Greenlaw looks like Dre Greenlaw, the correct answer is Dre Greenlaw. And I agree. God, Larry, we should not do shows together because we just kind of repeat each other. I would go Greenlaw, Banks, Huff, Ward, and that's only based on age and amount of football you got left to play in front of you. because I do like Javarius Ward an awful lot, but he's not having a great. I mean, I don't even want to talk about him in terms of football player. He's going through so much right now, but yeah, I hopefully it's Dre Greenlaw. If Dre Greenlaw can come on back this year and give the 49ers like 5 hair on fire games, including a few postseason games, could change everything.
Well, don't bank on that because John Lynch spoke this morning. One of the notes that he had today was that Dre Greenlaw is still running on the side, but he's not ready for them to open the practice window. When they do, he'll have 3 weeks to be activated. John seemed to say today on the radio that even after they open his practice window, they expect it to go probably the full 3 weeks. So it's not going to be like, practice window's open and here he is. It's like practice window's open and 3 weeks later. So I get the feeling, the Niners have played 9 games. They're 5-4. So they have 8 games left. I would say he's probably not going to return until 3 or 4 weeks left in the regular season.
Right. Hopefully he'll be back. I would think the Chicago game, the Lions game.
So I think the week before the Lions game would be when he's going to come back.
That's the Chicago game, isn't it? Hold on, Larry. I got the internet sitting right in front of me. I'll do this.
I have multiple internets, by the way. I'm down here. I got the.
So they're at Miami. It's Bears, Rams, at Dolphins, Lions, Cardinals. Those are the last 5 games of the year.
Yeah. So
Seahawks, at Packers, at Bills, home to the Bears, home to the Rams, at the Dolphins, home
Bears
to the Lions.
Game.
Yeah, Bears game.
Bears game is, I think, when you could probably hope to see him. You got to remember this. I mean, this should be a full year injury rehab, and he hurt himself February the 11th. So, that's anyway. People were saying mid-season. We're crazy. Mid-season. Yeah. I mean, what is this? 20? Are we in 2080? Do we move forward in time and medical? It's like maybe in the future. I mean, if you look at this used to be a career ender. And then it was like a year and a half and you were going to be way diminished. Then it was like a full year. Now it seems like it's less than a full year. Still a very serious injury. This one from Nathan McFadden. He says NFL should buy the ELF. Tom Sula is still coaching over there. I don't even know what the ELF is.
What is the EL? I thought it was by ELF.
European League football. I don't know. Football. I have no idea.
Foot umlauts over your use football.
Danny Golding drops this one. He says one of the numbers that Tom had on the Warriors.
What numbers?
Not sure. Maybe I'm not getting my supers in the right order here. Okay, let's see. NFL should. Yeah, there you go. That's what he said.
Either way, thank you, Danny.
But thank you. Yeah, thank you, Danny. Not sure. One of the numbers that Tom had on the Warriors. Oh, maybe what was Tom's number on the Warriors? I don't know.
What number did Tom Tolbert? Hold on.
11, 12, 40? I don't remember. I'm not big. When I was a little kid, I knew numbers. Oh my God. I knew everybody's number.
Oh, me too.
I know nobody's number now.
So Tom wore 23 at Arizona. He wore 34 with the Warriors. He wore number 40 as a member of the Orlando Magic there for a minute. He was a Charlotte Hornet for a second. Looks like they gave him 39. They didn't think Tom was going to be around very long. They gave him 39. Number 3, he wore number 3, I think, with the Warriors as well. Did Tom do 2 stints with the Warriors?
No, but he did 2 stints with the Hornets. I think he was drafted by the Hornets, and I think he finished with the Hornets. Didn't he? Something like that. Warriors, Clippers, Magic in there.
Yeah.
Played with Shaq in Orlando. A young Shaq.
Was he the 3rd center on that team? Was it Shaq, Tree Rollins, and Tom Tolbert?
I don't know if Tree was there yet.
Tree
I forget Tree. That was the former Hawk.
Totally.
Hey, one of the questions that I asked Brock Purdy yesterday. I don't know what direction you wanted to go, but one of the questions I asked Brock Purdy yesterday, I thought was kind of interesting. He always gives kind of an interesting answer. He wore
3 and 34 with the Warriors, 40 with the Orlando Magic, 3 with the Clippers, 23 and 39 in his 2 stints with the Hornets. We had to know. Give us Brock.
Well, here's a little bit of Brock from yesterday. I mentioned to him that, when he doesn't turn it over, they basically win. And here's what he had to say.
This year, when you don't fumble the ball or throw an interception, I think you're 16-0 since you've been here in those situations. When you hear those numbers, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
I mean, it makes sense. If you win the turnover battle, I forgot what the stat is, but it's, it's almost an automatic win. And so for me, that's my job, and I take pride in that. In those games where, you don't turn the ball over or anything like that, and you're protecting the team, you're protecting the offense, and your defense can then go out and create turnovers, and you can feed off each other. So that's a huge part of the game. And so, it makes sense. And that's probably the case with a lot of teams around the league. The quarterbacks that play smart and do their job and put up points without turning the ball over, you're going to have a really, really high chance of winning. So that's the goal every week.
So yeah, that is the goal every week, but it does really illustrate the importance of that aspect of the game. It's like there's running, there's tackling, there's blocking, there's special teams, there's this, there's that pass rush, and all these different areas that you can win or lose a football game. But when you're looking at numbers that are that concrete and they're tied to turnovers, it makes you wonder, you don't want to be skittish or afraid to drive the ball down the field or play not to lose or, try to be super extra careful. But when you see those stats, I bet you it probably makes you go, wow, if I just take care of the ball, we're going to win.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, how many possessions do you really get in a football game? You're lucky if you get 3 a quarter and you have 12 possessions. 12 possessions is you had the ball a lot that day. And if you give possessions away, just hand team free possessions, you're asking for it. You're just absolutely asking for it. And then, you factor in field position, and yeah, it's the single fastest way to slit your own throat, turning the ball over. The second single fastest way is, by just ignoring special teams. I had Mike Silver on this week, Larry. Put a video out with Mike Silver. And, I asked him, Kyle Shanahan really well. And I would say that attention to detail seems to be like an overarching theme of Kyle's entire coaching career, with the exception of special teams where, there's enough evidence to suggest he really doesn't give a shit. And Mike Silver was like, yeah, it's really, really weird how, when you talk to Shanahan, he won't even admit it's 1/3 of your team. It's not. And, when asked if, he believes in, a couple trick plays, a fake punt, a stolen possession here, Shanahan's like, yeah, we like to score with our offense. We think our offense and defense are good enough to just, play a game straight up. And that's pretty arrogant. It's pretty arrogant. You just think, yeah, our offense and defense is so good, I don't even need to pay attention to special teams. And that is, kind of the way Shanahan approaches it. And I think it's the biggest incomplete of his career. There is, I think, overwhelming evidence to suggest that he might have won a Super Bowl by now had he not felt that way. But it seems to be just the way he's wired to go about thinking about a football team. Offense means everything. Defense means a little. Special teams means almost nothing.
Well, I on one hand, I would push back and disagree. Why? Because who's invested more on special teams than the Niners? They fired their special teams coordinator and hired a guy in Schneider that was a very good special teams coordinator in Seattle. They went and signed George Odom to a big money deal. They drafted their kicker in the 3rd round. They drafted their punter in the 4th round. They've put resources into special teams. They practice it regularly.
I guess
I don't know that every team, even in the league, practices it as much as the Niners do. They practice it regularly. I hear what you're saying. My complaint would be this: inconsistency as far as philosophy when it comes to special teams. What do I mean? Well, Kyle said after one of the special teams gaffes, and there's been 7 already in the first 9 games. The only games that didn't have major special teams gaffes were Dallas and the Jets. 2 big wins, by the way. Cause and effect, I wonder. But basically he said, I don't want to lose this. I don't care if I win the game on special teams. I don't want to lose the game on special teams. Well, already that sounds kind of like defeatist thinking, and that sounds kind of like you really don't care. But if that's your philosophy, fine. But then why have Trent Taylor on your roster on practice squad, and who's the most dependable return guy, and keep going with Jacob Cowing, who's already had one muff. He looks like he's going to fumble every time he's got it. He's quick, but he's also had 3 or 4 occasions where he just slips down. He's kind of underpowered. It seems like you're taking risks with your return man that you don't need to take because you have Trent Taylor, who's one of the most consistent catchers of the football. If you really believe what you're saying, which is that you don't want to lose the game on special teams, and put Trent Taylor back there. Or let the ball bounce.
The defense that you offered saying, well, who's invested more? A 3rd-round draft pick and a kicker, and Wisnowski was drafted. Well, you idiots should stop drafting special teams players because anyone else gets one off the street and does better than with the guys that you're drafting. So here's the deal about punters. They're all the same. There is no difference between any punter that has ever punted in football and the next guy. Fuck them all. They're the most replaceable bunch of just punt the fucking ball crew of all time. So you should never draft a punter.
Tell Ray Guy that, by the way.
That's stupid. Fuck Ray Guy. What do you think of that, Larry? Just a punter. Just a punter. No, all respect.
He's in the Hall of Fame. Come on.
I know. But the only one, because that's how little it freaking matters. The punter is the punter is the punter is the punter. Now, when you have a kicker who hits all his field goals, you don't even notice him. When you have a kicker who misses 3 in an afternoon where he kicks 6, you notice him an awful lot. I would say.
How about that's the problem? You're going for 6 fucking field goals. How about that?
There's your problem
kind
right
of a
there.
problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a
6
problem.
6 field goal attempts is a problem. But, Lynch said today on the radio, Damon, he said, we have a lot of confidence and a lot of faith in Jake Moody. We believe he's a top level kicker, and they love him. So he's going nowhere. And Lynch said, hey, last night, Jake Elliott for Philly missed 2 field goals and a PAT. He's like, what happens? So they're totally forgiving it. They've invested in a 3rd-round pick, and they're going to ride with it to the death.
Yeah, and I would say the Carlson
and it
kid
may be the death
better.
knell. It may be the death knell.
The Carlson kid might have been better. It's just that simple. So that's the thing. So your 3rd-round kicker that you believe a lot in, who keeps on failing you in games, you like more than the guy you didn't believe anything in, just flipped him a helmet and was perfect.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny. When you want to keep a guy, you can make up any excuse to keep him. Yeah, he missed 3 field goals, but he showed a lot of courage and nobody showed more in the way he made that 4th one. Because he
showing courage.
He really showed a lot of guys would have folded right there, and not this guy, whatever. So you can spin it any way you want. Either here's what I know about the kicker: make the fucking kick.
That's it.
That's what I know.
That's it. And by the way, when I'm talking about special teams, I'm almost not even talking about your kickers. I'm talking about lane assignments. I'm talking about learning how to tackle somebody in the open field. That's what we're talking about here. That's where we're talking about not having your guy be backed up into your punt returner. How about that? How about some spatial fucking awareness on the football field as to where you are, where the kick returner is, and where the ball is?
Yeah. Darrell Luter's got to be better. It's got to be better. Ricardo Rodriguez, his second half of the season doesn't look sharp. Kyle play calling a suspect. I hope they get their shit together. Is there urgency in the locker room, Larry? Oh, yeah, there definitely is. Definitely is. I do believe that they're about to play their best football. I think they're going to have their best stretch of football coming up here. There's a lot of urgency. There's a lot of urgency. This is a very good locker room. It's a very focused locker room. This is a locker room of guys that, love to play the game. They've got great chemistry, and, they feel good. They feel good. It's a very confident football team.
Well, they should be.
For whatever that's worth.
For whatever, here's the deal. You say their best football's in front of them.
I think
it
so.
needs to be. Here it is. Like you're running out of football in front of you. So this is it. This is the time. You must beat Seattle and then at the very least split your next 2 on the road. So being 2-1 over the next 3 weeks makes all the math fit. All the hope remains. You go 1-3, or excuse me, you go 1-2 here with a loss being to Seattle. You're in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. So yeah, their best football. It better happen right now. They're all out of mulligans. They really are.
Fuji Simeon says, remember when Cowherd gave Brock grief for wearing his hat backwards? Not serious, LOL. Not professional, LOL. Yeah.
I will say this. It's a through line of Colin Cowherd's entire career. That man really hates backwards baseball caps.
Seriously.
He's consistent.
I mean, who cares? I mean, I love how I can watch like a Junior Griffey retrospective and everybody loved how Junior wore his hat backwards. And then all of a sudden, Brock wears his hat backwards at a presser, and it's like, dude, you're an immature non-leader. You can't do it. You assume a position of leadership by your play and by your work ethic.
Right. A backwards hat is not a sign of society's decay.
Yeah. And when I say, hey, who's the leader on the team? Nobody would say follow up with well, it depends. I haven't seen them wear their baseball cap. And it's like, no, that's not a factor. Not a factor in the whole deal.
You're interviewing somebody for a very important job, and the last step of the interview process is you push across your desk a baseball cap and just say, put that on, please. I want to see what you do with that.
If they tuck their ears, that's a bad look, I think.
Yeah, this interview's over.
Yeah, if you tuck your ears, I mean, come on. The ears must be on the outside of the hat. I mean, you can't.
The only way you can get away with that is if you're a little kid in a fitted hat that's too big for you and your ears slip into it. You cannot be an adult with tucked in ears, for Christ's sakes.
If you're an adult with tucked in ears, it's not the right look. I don't know.
No juice box for that adult.
I mean, it's not good. It's not good. I don't know what else I can say. We could go into greater detail, but we would probably offend. And it's, we're not here to offend.
The ear tucking crowd, you don't want to offend them, Larry?
I don't want to attack the ear tucking crowd because
I think
there could be some tough guys in that ear tucking crowd.
They need to be taken down a peg or two. Let's be totally honest. By the way, what is the number on this game? How much has it moved here? Are we still looking at 6?
Yeah, it's 6. Niners have won 6 in a row. Hey, by the way, kind of an overarching theme that we haven't really talked about. Is this kind of thing that's gone on between these two franchises where the Niners hate the Seahawks, the Seahawks hate the Niners. The Seahawks had Russell Wilson. He was this super competitive, super athletic, smaller, run around guy. They could never sack him and they could never beat him. And they never did beat him. And then the Seahawks got rid of him. And then the Niners got their kind of version of Russell. And now the Seahawks can't beat the Niners. Now the Niners have, as Krueger would say, ownage on the Hawks. So to me, it's interesting. They're very similar, I think, in a lot of ways, Russell and Purdy. They both have some different strengths and weaknesses, but some definite, a lot of similarities, especially in the way they move and the size. And I just think that, to me, that's really interesting that you bring in Russell. Niners just never could beat them, and they never felt like they were going to beat them. They had no confidence against Russell and Seattle. But now you get that same vibe coming the other way. Like Seattle's got no confidence against Purdy. Their big talk this week was that it's not enough to put pressure on Purdy. It's like, can they get him on the ground? And Mike McDonald said it's a point of emphasis this week, trying to get Purdy on the ground, and they haven't been able to do that.
Yeah, I read an article out of Seattle, the Intelligencer or Times, whatever it was up there, and it was basically how, their mission on third down is to make sure Purdy's not beating them with their legs. And maybe if that is an emphasis all week long for Seattle, that's going to open up some passing windows. If they're worried about Brock running, maybe that makes throwing the ball on third down just a little bit easier. And Again, staying ahead of the sticks, third and manageable. That's what the Niners need all day long. Stay on the field, control that tempo and clock. And again, the number 6.5. I think the 49ers win this game by double digits. This could be a 2-touchdown win for the 49ers. It should be. It should be. Like we were saying earlier, unless Kenneth Walker III is beating you with a Christian McCaffrey impression, I just don't think they've got enough guns to come out and outshoot the 49ers. DK Metcalf always plays a little wonky against the Niners. He's coming off of an injury. Tyler Lockett's a hell of a player. Jackson Smith and Jigba, there's a guy that you got to keep your eye on all freaking day long. But if you do that and don't let Kenneth Walker go off on you, the Niners are going to win this game, Larry. I don't say that.
I think so.
I think
the Niners are going to win this game.
Yeah. They better win this fucking game.
A couple updates today from Lynch on this. One, Nick Bosa's got the hip injury.
How's that going, by the way? Has he not practiced at all this week?
Yeah, well, he's been resting. They're trying to use more rest this week.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Excuse me. But Nick, they're saying he needs rest, and they're saying that he still needs to kind of check a couple boxes before they're going to sign off on him playing this weekend. So there's a chance Bosa doesn't go. There's also a chance that Yatir Gross-Matos does go. He's practiced all week. He's looked really, really good. So maybe you'll see Gross-Matos, but no Bosa.
Give me both. Niners can need as much pressure from the edge as they can get. Huge week. I would think again for, who I'm really going to watch an awful lot is Evan Anderson. I think Evan Anderson is a guy that is about to happen, and it's sort of been under the radar and more snaps for that kid. I want to see Malik Collins and then him get rotated in before I think I even see Jordan Elliott. Looks like Jordan Elliott's just a little bit, I don't want to say light, but he gets pushed around a lot. Like Malik Collins on the snap doesn't really go anywhere. He stands his ground. And Evan Anderson is a guy who stands his ground too here. I mean, I'm not going to pretend I'm some film nerd, but I rewatch these games and I see who gets pushed and who doesn't. And Evan Anderson is who doesn't. He does not get moved.
I asked Fred Warner about this cat in the locker room the other day, and this is one of my favorite guys. I love Evan Anderson. And it's so funny, Damon, because, people see guys like that and they're like, they see kind of the bad body and they're like, oh, this guy can't be good.
Right. The Guardian cap isn't doing him any favors.
The Guardian cap, the kind of the bad body. And it's like, oh, this guy's whatever. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for quickness, foot quickness. The position is about foot quickness and strength and anchor ability. And this kid's got it all. And they paid this kid $280,000 and guaranteed every penny to sign him as an undrafted free agent. And when I saw that number is outrageous. I've heard guys get 60 grand. I've heard guys who get 90 grand. I've heard guys who get 130 grand. $280,000 guaranteed to an undrafted free agent to sign is huge money. And Chris Kasarik, they put a lot of trust in Chris. Chris is the guy who wanted this kid. I asked Chris about him this summer. I said, were you instrumental in Evan being here? And he's like, absolutely. Here up top, I'm going to show you his highlight, and then you'll hear me ask Fred about him.
By the way, that's the same smirk. That's the same smile that Fred Warner gives a girl at about 1:30 in the morning when the bar's shutting down. What are you doing? Look at that.
Fred's married with a
sorry.
So here we go.
I didn't know that.
Let's not get Fred in any kind of trouble. Fred was not in the bar, giving that look to women.
That is the same smile Fred gives his wife when he thinks, hey, is it go time?
There you go. Here's Fred.
Fred, how much you liking Anderson up front? He just seems like he gets better and better every game.
Yeah, man. Evan's just doing a heck of a job, really. Like, you talk about an undrafted free agent coming in, and usually the case is that guys don't really know your name. You just kind of you show up, you go to work, and making practice squad, and then all of a sudden your name's called to be on the active roster, and has made plays in every single game that he's been up. It's just it's a testament to him, the way that he's worked his confidence and his abilities and being ready for his moment when his number was called.
I'm gonna put the volume down so we don't hear that volume again, but we'll see if I can do that. There we go. There we go. I'm gonna roll this back though. I'm gonna roll this up again so you can see this. This is amazing.
Watch the
We're
tape.
talking about, yeah, this is like, okay, look at the quickness here. The guy that we're talking about is right here. Okay. Right where I got the whatever this is, mouse. Okay. Look at this jump cut. Look at the amount of real estate this guy covers, and look how nobody gets a finger on him. This guy's got short area quickness for days. Look at this jump cut. Whoop, boom, and sit down. I mean, that's a nice play, man.
McCaffrey hitting a hole.
That is, look at the quickness. This is 3 1/4. And no, not today.
Secretly, the biggest play of last week's game right there.
That's a great play, man. And he had an illegal hands to the face penalty a couple plays prior to that. And so he's trying to atone. But, I mean, this kid is just special. And he still is hardening out his body. Like a year from now, he's going to be really good. But he carries tons of weight from like the let's say the rib cage down. He's very, very bulky in the lower legs, kind of like a Dana Stubblefield for you older Niner fans. And he just carries a lot of weight and a lot of power. Yeah, and this guy's quick.
Apple bottom.
Short area quickness and strength is really, like, if you ever are in a bar, I'm not telling you anything, you probably don't need me to give you this advice. But if you're ever in a bar and you see an NFL defensive lineman, don't start a fight with him, because these guys have strength from the elbow to the fingertips that is so much stronger than anything you've ever seen. And it just allows them to throw guys away, because the whole job is to throw away blockers. These guys clutch and grab all the time. They grab the offensive lineman. They try to sideswipe them, but everybody's trying to grab and throw you down, right. And it takes a lot. Anyway. So Evan Anderson is he's my favorite, man.
That's why you find an awful lot of guys in the NFL in the off season. One of their workouts is, judo. A lot of judo classes for guys in the trenches, because there's so much hand fighting and like you said, short space fighting without a lot of room around you. Getting into a fight in a phone booth is another way to look at it. And
don't fight hockey players either. Those guys can fight on skates. If a guy can fight on skates,
balance.
You don't want to fight him when he's not wearing skates.
Yeah. How about this? A little tip from both of us. You probably don't want to fight a professional athlete.
Probably
stay away from all of them.
Only one I would consider would be Joey Chestnut. If Joey Chestnut wants to fight, you know what? Come here. I punch him in his fat gut. Fuji Simeon, but he's only loosely a pro athlete. Fuji Simeon says, your take on Randy Wynn as senior VP of player development. I have no take other than Randy's a good dude. I see him, his kid and my kid play flag football in the same league. So I see him out there at Los Lomas High School watching flag football the last couple of years. And he's a good dude. And I've enjoyed him. He's smart. He's a Bay Area guy. He's a hardworking guy.
Randy Wynn is someone who was, took great care of himself as a player, was never unprepared to go play a game. I think there's a lot of really good habits that he can inject in minor leaguers throughout the system. But I don't know, when you got a Buster Posey who is walking into I've never done this before, I don't really want to surround him with too much other I've never done this before. And that's what Randy Wynn is.
Yeah.
So, I like him, but there's a little, how about this? Does that guy get the job if it isn't Randy Wynn? And I think the answer would be a definitive no.
Well, I mean, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I kind of agree with all of that. Good for Randy Wynn, but he's got no experience. So we'll have to wait and see.
Right. I
can't tell you it's a good move. I can tell you I like Randy Wynn as a guy. That's all.
Right. That's exactly how I feel about the whole thing too. Total pro, someone who you want sitting in a meeting for sure, but the final word on develop young play? I don't know. Like if you told me that they had signed Keith Law, I would have been more excited about Randy Wynn.
Well, and the Giants need to just take it. The one thing I loved that I heard yesterday is somebody had a cut from Buster saying, hey, we got to be really smart with Bryce Eldridge. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of excitement. We want to celebrate him and rocket him through the minors, but we got to make sure that he's ready, and we can't force feed him. It's not the right sport to kind of say, hey, just sink or swim. It's like you could do some real damage to the guy's development if you try to rush him. So I think they're going to go for a first baseman. Sounds like they're going to trade Yaz. They're going to trade Wade. They're going to probably go for a first baseman. And
Chipmunk says, hey, Lynch had no experience. Well, he's more of the exception to the rule than the rule.
No, but that's good. It's a good example, though.
It is. But I would also say how many first round picks?
Guy.
But how many first round picks has that guy screwed up?
Yeah. No, I mean, it hasn't been seamless. That's the thing. I mean, there has to be some grace for some early mistakes when you're taking somebody who's never done it before. And I just don't know that I want to be hiring that many guys that are going to be making a lot of early mistakes. I don't know that the Giants have that kind of time. I mean, the Dodgers have clearly run beyond them, clearly are the pace setter in the division. They're second-class citizens at best.
Yeah.
At best. The Diamondbacks won the year before that. So, I mean, got to the World Series at least. So, I mean, the division, Giants better get serious.
Giants better get serious. Hands down, the worst team in their own division. Hands down.
Well, Colorado. But yeah.
Oh, that's right. Well, I forget about the Rockies, that they even exist. But for a borderline, you forget that they even exist, Colorado Rockies franchise, who, have not mattered since, Eric Burns was there. Eric Burns was on that Colorado team that went to the World Series, wasn't he?
Briefly. No. No. He was only in Colorado for a short amount of time. Then he got moved to Baltimore, I think.
Okay. Well, either way, the Rockies are so bad, I forgot they even existed. So the congratulations, San Francisco Giants. You're better than the team I forget exists.
Yeah. Giants have some challenges here. Let's see if they can do something. They got to get up and get more entertaining.
I mean, that's the thing. If I were the Giants, I would look at Buster Posey and said, you got 3 years to course correct this. We will start evaluating the job you're doing, Buster, 3 years from now when we see what you've assembled and how you've maintained, what?
I want to see multiple.
Who on this team right now will even be here 3 years from now?
Yeah, I mean, I want to see multiple plans. I want to see a short-term plan to be competitive, and I want to see a long-term plan to run with the Dodgers. Yeah. That's going to better be a really hell of a plan, isn't it? Because the Dodgers are rolling pretty freaking good. So, and that's what I want as a Giants fan. And there's no reason that the Giants should have to take a back seat to the Dodgers. It's outrageous that they have. Fuji Simeon says, will the NFL allow for roster expansion from 53 to 60? That's going to cost millions and millions of dollars. So my guess is eventually they will, and it'll be one of those things they trade for the 20th game, something like that. That'd be my guess. They'll increase roster size at some point. They'll trade it for more games. Fuji Simeon says, Tua out of everyone
should wear a Guardian cap.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, we're all concerned for Tua's next concussion, but he says he doesn't want to wear it. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, it's a bad look. I mean, it's safe. It just doesn't look good.
Well, that's the thing. It's safe with a huge, quotations around the word safe. Relatively safe to what? Because I guarantee you there's someone who's going to be wearing a Guardian cap who gets his bell rung, and that's that. It's not the end-all, be-all of concussions. So
some people think, okay, let's talk about it for a second. I mean, some people would say you're an idiot if you don't try to be as safe as possible. Okay. But you know what? I ride a bicycle on the weekends and on the trail. I don't wear a helmet. Am I evil, or am I a product of 1970? And I never wore a bicycle helmet. And if I was driving through the city of San Francisco and a Muni bus could hit me, I would probably, as a commuter, I would probably wear a helmet. But just hanging out on the trails in Walnut Creek on my bike, with my wife in the middle of the day, I'm going to risk it. I'm going to risk it, Damon. I'm going to go helmetless. Okay. That's just the way I roll. That's how risky I am up in this beast. All right. But I will go for a bike ride without a helmet. Damn it.
He's a wild man.
I'm a wild man. I'm like a Hell's Angel over here. Anyway, but it's kind of like, there's some of the kids in the little league wore the mask in front of their helmet. And it's like, I was like, some of the moms were on the team were like, I want my kid to wear the mask. I'm like, okay, but I mean, it's like,
yeah, look,
how about this? How about don't wear the mask and let's teach the kids how to get out of the goddamn way, because wearing that thing and taking one off the head is, I guess maybe once it's going to save you. But I mean, how about when I played baseball, you had to, that's what made baseball. There was the fear element of getting plunked. So I don't know. It's like, I don't know. It's just, to me, is it safer to wear a football helmet to play baseball? Yeah, but I coach baseball and I wouldn't advise that. Is it safer to wear a helmet when you bike? Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, I wear a seatbelt in my car. But I don't know. I mean, just some of these things. I mean, how safe is too safe? Can we be too safe? Can we be over safe? Is the Guardian cap? Are these guys idiots for not wearing the Guardian cap? I mean, I don't know.
Let me tell you what I think is safe for too safe. I've been watching for half a year now. This new NFL kickoff rule, dump it. It sucks. It's done nothing to make the game more interesting at all. Go back to normal.
Don't give teams a way to get around it. I mean, that's what's happened. They've given teams a way to get around it. So Fuji Simeon says, LOL, Larry's living on the edge.
Totally.
Yeah. Somebody said something about tobacco in here. Let me see this one. It kind of cracks me up. Let's see, where is that? Anyway, but yeah, it's hard to navigate on this in my laptop.
It's all right.
Oh, here we go. We got this one. We got this one from JJ Raider. Larry, you used to chew tobacco when playing baseball. You couldn't feel the ball if it hits you. Yeah.
Yeah, your nicotine buzz going on.
Yeah, your nicotine buzz.
I miss. I mean, I really do. I miss it.
It was a terrible habit, though. It really was a terrible habit.
It was.
I mean, I nobody dipped more than me. I was a dipping fool. I was long cut. I broadcast for years doing with a fat dip in. I mean,
Tolbert did the same thing too. Tolbert he was going Copenhagen. He would pack that lip hard, and that's like dipping.
Tommy liked the cherry. He liked the cherry cut, the cherry skull.
Yeah, even when my biggest dipping days, I never dipped as a broadcaster. I never had a dip in on the air.
Oh, it's amazing. But you had to go with the long cut. You couldn't go with the snuff.
The Kodiak.
Well, no, you can't. You had to go with the long cut as far as the snuff just moved around. It was a terrible habit, dude.
Let me ask.
I get on in the Canadian League scouting. That's when I started dipping.
Look at it this way: when I was wearing a Fitbit, which was borderline comical, me wearing a Fitbit, the only thing it ever really taught me or did was I would put a dip in and I would watch my heart rate spike on that thing like I was running, and I'm like, well, that can't be good. And then I had a stroke. Anyway,
and then you quit dipping, right?
And then I quit dipping. So since the stroke, there's two things that I've quit: all fast food and dipping.
All fast food.
I mean, I'll still eat a cheeseburger. Don't get me wrong. I just won't eat a cheeseburger from McDonald's. I won't eat anything that you give to me.
If someone says Chipotle, will you go to Chipotle, or is that not
I wouldn't go to Chipotle because I live in San Francisco, and if I want a good burrito, I'm surrounded by them. I wouldn't go get a shitty burrito. I live in San Francisco. If you're in Iowa, I guess you got to go to Chipotle.
Where are you going in San Francisco for your burrito of choice?
There's
a Zona Rosa. Are you Gordo, or where?
Great place on Ocean Avenue called Jalapenos. And it's just this old lady behind herself in a basically always empty restaurant. Kitchen looks kind of dirty. I don't care. She does a great burrito. It's really, really good. I love her. So I'm a jalapenos guy on Ocean Avenue, and then of course we
do
got.
You go spinach wrap? Do you go spinach wrap? Do you order off the menu? Do you know they always have those spinach and tomato wraps on the side?
So those are your bougier places. She doesn't have. I don't think my little abuelita has even ever heard of a spinach wrap. She's just old school.
The spinach wrap is fantastic. Fantastic.
I do love
Christopher Shin
burrito though.
Larry better invite Fuji Simeon to Thanksgiving. He's paying his salary.
Seriously, Fuji Simeon is your biggest benefactor.
Fuji Simeon is going to have a seat at the table.
How about this for Thanksgiving, a dinner idea? We were going to have some people over here, but then my buddy Greg, who owns the Halfway Club out on Geneva, says we're going to close the bar and have friends over, and we're going to do a friends Thanksgiving with like 30 people. Damon, instead of coming over, you're more than welcome to. So we're going
on Thanksgiving.
On Thanksgiving, we're going to the bar. We're doing a big turkey dinner over there. But he's like, "What's the best part of Thanksgiving dinner when you think about it?" And I said, "Well, the leftovers." He said, "Exactly." So what they're doing is the day before Thanksgiving, they're cooking all the Thanksgiving dinner, and then our Thanksgiving dinner on Thanksgiving is going to be turkey sandwiches. I think it's a great idea.
It's a good way to do it.
I think it's a great idea to serve 20, 30 people. Here's your turkey sandwiches with all the fixings and stuffing and mashed potatoes and all the stuff and the accoutrement on the side. But instead of a big plate of turkey, here's the turkey sandwich that you'd rather have anyways. I think it's a brilliant idea. It might revolutionize Thanksgiving in America. I'm just saying.
You know what? I think we got a faulty oven, right? So our oven in the last couple of weeks, we've noticed that our oven is just not getting as hot as it needs to get. It's not staying as hot. So, I mean, I may have to call my good friends at KMBR and say, hook me up at Friedman's. I may have to go to Friedman's Appliance in Pleasant Hill and get me a new oven here this year.
Well, look at it this way.
I'm in need of a new oven.
You got a better chance of getting trade out for your new oven than paid well enough to go buy yourself a new oven. So I hope that that's what happens, Larry.
I'm getting paid very, very well right now, so I'm very happy.
How are you getting paid? Ovens. They're keeping me. My family's
you
dripping
kidding
it up.
me? I got appliances backed up, man. I got stuff just sitting there on dollies in the garage.
Hey, I know
haven't even thought about using yet.
I know you got to get.
I got
running
a 6-burner coming. What's that?
Let me ask you the 6-burner. You do want a power burner to get pots boiling on your stove. You want one power burner, lots of BTUs on one of them.
I have an oven with a cooktop, right? But it's electric. It's not gas. That's fine. I'd rather have gas, but whatever. The stove top works. The oven doesn't.
That's a problem for turkey. You got a
major problem with
smoker? You got a griller or smoker to do your turkey?
No, I mean I don't have a smoker. I have a barbecue. Now, guess what I have had before in the past? I've had the deep fried turkey.
Yeah.
Have you ever?
Many times.
Deep fried turkey is the most amazing thing of all time.
It's great. Really, very juicy. Fantastic. It really works. I was in Fort Wayne, Indiana when deep fried turkeys became fashionable. And there was a summer in Fort Wayne where like 10 houses burnt down because people were deep frying turkeys and putting them in frozen on their wooden decks. And so the spill of the oil would catch the wooden deck on fire, and then the wooden deck burning would burn the whole house down. It was the summer of deep fried turkey revenge in Fort Wayne, Indiana in like 1995, 1996. A lot of people went down to the deep fried turkey. I know we got to get running, Larry. Let me wrap up with this here. Thanks to everyone.
Yeah, two last Supers.
Everybody, thank you for watching. Thank you for the supers. Thank you for hitting like and subscribe across both channels and hitting notify. Larry, is curiosity going to get the better of you tonight? Will you be watching any of Tyson versus Paul on Netflix?
Yeah, in fact, I was just talking to Kev. It's on Netflix. I have Netflix. I think the pre-card starts like around 5 or 6. I got Niners Nightly from 6 to 7. But from 7 o'clock on, I want to see Tyson knock his ass out.
Yeah, I don't know.
I talked to Tyson once. Remember when he came to KMBR? He was on with Murph and Mac, and I saw him in the bullpen area. Nobody was talking to him, and I just sat down next to him. I'm like, Mike, what's going on, man? And it was like, I don't like to big league people ever. I'm not a big league. I do not big league, right? but I big leagued this entire room of KMBR people one day because everybody was standing there and they were standing there filming him and they were staring at him and they were taking pictures of him, but nobody was talking to him.
It's like he's a zoo animal or something.
Right. And so I see this situation as I walk in and I'm like, why is nobody talking to him? So I just cut through the entire thing. I'm like, what, Mike? What's going on? Larry Krueger, man. I do the next show. Oh, dude, I'm a huge fan. I read the whole book by Customato about the cat skills. He's like, oh, you read about Cuss. We start talking about Cuss. We have this conversation going. Immediately, I get this conversation going with him. Then, of course, it's like right about to start the show. Gary walks in, and I'm like, Mike, I gotta go. He daps me up. We do a bro hug, and like the entire crowd of KMBR salespeople and office people and promotions people open up, and I walk through and go into the studio. I've never felt more superior than at that moment. I mean, these people were deathly afraid of Mike Tyson, afraid of him. Like,
yeah, well,
like he was like a tiger, like he was a tiger who was going to bite them.
Yeah, well,
dude, he's just a guy.
An intimidating presence, but you know what you did, man? You disarmed him, Larry, and you brought up the magic topic. If you get Tyson talking about Customato, you're going to have him laying on your lap and purring like a kitten. Like that is the best way to get to the soft part of Mike Tyson, by going over Customato memories. So again,
this guy raised him.
You must be a broadcaster for a living. You know what you're doing. I'll be watching
those kinds of little exchanges are the best.
If I had to go out and buy it, I wouldn't buy it. But since I have Netflix and it's going to be on Netflix, sure, why not? I'll watch.
Fuji Simeon says, never. Larry's a wildcat, to the guy before who said, LOL, Larry's living on the edge. He says, no, I'm not living on the edge. I'm a wildcat. And then we have this one from Titus Moeller. Hey, Titus, good to see you. He says, Larry, I was impressed by the deference Kyle gave to you during that exchange on explosives. Was that a first? And does he know you used to be a scout? I mean, Kyle knows me. I don't know if he knows that I scouted or not. I've never said that to him, but he probably does. And as far as the explosives, I just asked him about, did Christian's presence on the field lead to more explosives? And he's like, I don't know if we had more. I think they actually may have had more explosive plays the week prior, but my thing was, I noticed that every single Niner player had at least one explosive for the first time all year.
5 catches, all of them going for more than 30 yards. It was the first time since a game against the Seahawks in 2023 where they had a game pop quite like that. So yeah,
he said to me, he goes, I don't know, do we have more explosives? And he goes, he's looking at his sheet and he goes, I'm sure you're right. And that's what he said. I think that's what Titus is saying. I appreciated that from Shanahan as well. I mean, I'll say this with Kyle. I try to ask tough but fair questions. I'm not trying to embarrass him. I'm not trying to get him fired. I am friend, not foe.
Right. You're not playing gotcha journalism.
And I'm not an anti-Shanahan. I'm a pro Shanahan. I think he understands that. Anyway, that's going to do it for us.
Does he know that you're getting most of your really good questions from me? And then you just go.
Kyle, this is a Damon Bruce special from today.
Be like, but he wasn't a scout in the CFL, Kyle. I was. So if this question feels a little bit more amateurish, he's just a YouTube guy. And, you know.
Kyle,
I love this right here from JJ Rader. Larry using his kitchen appliances like Shanahan is using CMC. He's running them into the ground.
Seriously, I mean, come on. I mean, I what if I had a pellet grill and I have a smoker? They're my Garendo and my Mason, but I'm not using them. I've got a smoker. Yeah, I've got a pellet grill. Yeah, I've got a green egg. They're all sitting there, but I don't use them. I don't use them because once my oven is ready, I'm only an oven man, and everything is in the oven.
The green egg is basically your Danny Gray. It's just a rumor.
I
think he's got one of them, but we've never seen it, so we don't know. Larry, thanks for everything, man. Great week all the way around, and I'm going to be hosting another watch party for 49ers and Seahawks this Sunday. So come on over, hang out with me on the channel for a little bit. And it should be a good time. We've had a lot of fun with it. Again, thanks to Sam's. Look at that sexy lobster roll. Look at that paella and then the cioppino centerfold. Look at that. Gorgeous. Get yourself to Sam's Chowder House this weekend, this month. Again, a lot of holiday cooking coming up. Treat your Thanksgiving, your Christmas cooks to a great night out at Sam's. It's a great place to bring family, friends from out of town. I know that that's going to be happening a lot around the holidays. So thanks to Sam's Chowder House, and thanks to everyone for watching. And as we normally end with Balky and Ralph impressions on a day where, you know, Tom has served his last show as host on KNBR, I'll just wrap up by saying, angels fly because they take themselves lightly. And Tommy always took himself lightly too, which is why he was so special. And he really was. And I'll miss Tolbert on the air. And the soundtrack of the Bay Area has been forever altered when you remove these iconic voices from our airwaves. So they got a bright future. There's no doubt about it. Bright futures for all. But it is too bad. And there's John Lund, too. We frame this as just Tolbert. This is about Lund. This is about Creative Tony. There was another young man who I really don't even know who lost his status at the station as well. Today, Lamont and Tonelli, who've been on the air for 30 years. It's too bad, man. It really is. So I salute all of them. I'll be in touch with all of them. I like all these people very, very much, and I appreciate their relationships with me. So, Larry, I appreciate you to no end as well, brother. Thank you for helping jumpstart my second life here on YouTube. And have a good weekend. Have a good day down at Levi's, and we'll talk again on Monday.
Peace. Everybody have a great Friday.